morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is April 15th, 2020, and I'm trying to get this out of the way. There we go. So, we're still talking about exponents today. I hope you all enjoyed positive and negative exponents from yesterday. Today we're going to first be talking about adding exponents. Now that works from the idea that if I multiply two variables or two numbers that are the same type, or just any two numbers, then I would add their exponents. I might also have to deal with the multiplication that is in the middle, but it's normally when you do this with variables, you just add the exponents together. So, if I have x squared times x to the 6th, following this formula, because this formula is really all you need to do on this, that's going to be the same thing as x to the 2 plus 6. Now, kids and parents, what's 2 plus 6? That's correct, it's 8. Meaning, x squared times x to the 6th is x to the 8th. That's one way of looking at this. Another way to look at this is, alright, x squared, that's the same thing as x to the 6th, and I think you can see where I'm going with this, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so if this is this times this, how many x's do you have now? You have 8. Alright, so let's look at this one. I have x to the 4th times x to the negative 3. Now, Mr. K, that has a negative 3 as an exponent. Surely when you add those, it's going to be something different. You won't be adding. That's right. Well, right and sort of wrong. If you multiply these two things, well, what happens when you add a negative? It's the same thing as subtracting a positive. So that is just x to the 4 minus 3, which is just x to the 1st. Or an x to the 1st can just be written as x. Now, Mr. K, look at these. You have x squared times y to the 10th. So are you saying that's going to be xy to the 12th? No. This only applies if you're multiplying two of the same type. Like, look up here. That's x and an x. So x and an x will give you the x to the a plus b. So when you multiply these, the only thing you can do is say that's x squared, y to the 10th, and just keep them like that. That's the only thing you can do with these. For a second, I thought there was a cat underneath my foot. It is not a cat. Alright, now, with this one, a little bit more complicated. It looks like I have more than one thing that I'm multiplying, but it still applies the same. X squared, x cubed, x to the 4th, and x to the 1st. Remember, if you don't see an exponent, assume the exponent is 1. So I have x to the 1st, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4. Now 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is, I believe, 7, 9, 10. I have x to the 10th. So, to recap, ladies and gentlemen, parents and students, when we're multiplying variables of the same type, or numbers, we can add the exponents. That's really, this equation is really all we're using, and it should be incredibly straightforward. Now, if I have something like this, I want you to write out the exponential forms of this problem. And do try to simplify. Don't know why I said both. Maybe it'll come back to me later. Write out the exponential form for this problem and simplify. So, kind of like what we did with the x's and the y's in the last page, I could only multiply things at the same time. So this is going to be 2 to the 2 plus 4 And that is going to be x to the 2 plus 4. That isn't very ugly looking for. There we go, a little bit better. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what's 2 plus 4? That's right. So, now, you might want to say, oh, hey, that's our answers, that's what we did, easy, we're done. Be careful. I did say simplify. So once you're supposed to simplify, there's nothing you can do with that x to the 6th, so you just drop that down. It is what it is. But 2 to the 6th, that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. What's all that put together? 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and 64. That is 64x to the 6th. Should be pretty easy for you guys by now. Sometimes I wonder if bad posturing during these videos is going to give me a back problem. Hopefully not. Alright. So, now, if we can add exponents, guess what we can do? Subtract them. So, ladies and gentlemen, be super careful. When you multiply variables, that means you can add exponents. If you divide variables, that means you subtract exponents. So, x to the a divided by x to the b is equal to x to the a minus b. So, what am I going to be subtracting here? Good job, guys. It's going to be 8 minus 3, which would give me 5. Pretty simple. And we can see this kind of working on the same way that we did last time. If I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 x's on top and 3 on bottom. Now, please excuse me for one moment. Missy, it's my cat. Don't claw at the door. Division implies taking away stuff, right? So if I wanted to write everything out, say, hey, I got 3 on bottom, and they are going to take away 3 on top, how many are you left with? 5. And so that's essentially all we're doing. Ooh, what about this one? One of my cats just ran across the room. It looks a little flustered. I have 4 minus 6. Well, x to the 4 minus 6 is going to give me x to the negative 2. Now, if whatever question you're answering says, hey, don't simplify, just get whatever answer you get, that's totally fine, x to the negative 2. But if I said, hey, write this using only positive exponents, what would you do? Would you just write it like that and say, oh, that's x squared? No, you obviously wouldn't. You'd have to say it is 1 over x squared. Alright, so now I have x to the 12th divided by x to the negative 3. This one is kind of like our x to the 4th times x to the negative 3. What happens when you subtract, except think about it in the other direction. What happens when you subtract a negative? It's the same thing as adding a positive. So x 12 to the minus a negative 3 is the same thing as x to the 12 plus 3. Meaning that's x to the 15th power. That's a lot of x's. I'm not writing that one out. But Mr. K, we want to see you write it out. Oh no, I'm not writing it out. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, pause. Write out the exponential form for this problem and use only positive exponents. Pause the video, work that out, because there's a lot that you got to do there. Alright, your answer that you should get at the very end is y to the 7th over x to the 4th. If you want to see this worked out, wait for just a moment. Sorry. Stomach's not feeling too good right now, so I'm just kind of like taking things a little bit slower. But if you want to see how to do this one, you got to break it down into two different cases. You've got your x's, you have your y's, and do those subtractions individually. Think of it like this. I've got x to the 6 under x squared times y to the 12th over y to the 5th. So, x squared divided by x to the 6th, that's going to be the same thing as x. 2 minus 6, it's going to be negative 4. Times, what's 12 minus 5? 7. So it definitely looks like we have our 7 super quick. But about this x to the negative 4th, well, what do we do with the negative exponent? You got to make it positive by putting it on the opposite side of a fraction, the denominator. y to the 7th, that is a beautiful y over x to the 4th, because it has to go to the denominator. There you go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm going to sign off. Tomorrow, we'll probably be talking about what to do when you have a exponent parentheses exponent. Something like x to the a parentheses b, and that's going to be a whole heap of fun. So, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have yourself a great Wednesday. Make sure to stay inside, eat healthy, get a lot of exercise, and most importantly, have fun. Enjoy what you do. I love math. You should enjoy it as well.